Hi, it's Georgie Hope here from Fruitful Online SEO, and today we're going to run through a live video version of a presentation that I did at Key Business Network in Brisbane. So we're looking at two things that you can do yourself to actually improve your website rankings. So the first one that we're going to look at is how to find pages that Google can see that you don't actually know exist. So you might have a website that you think has 10 pages on it, but there may actually be 50 different listings in Google, and it might be that those other 40 have stuff that's completely irrelevant, or it's low quality content, or a whole range of other things. And in that case, what that means is that it's bringing down the overall quality of your whole site. So by removing those pages so that Google can't see them anymore, then you increase the ability for your whole website to rank higher in Google. So it's one of the first things that I look at when I'm looking at a website, because it's one of the things that is often easiest to fix. And so what we're going to do today is just run through how you actually do that. So the first thing that we need to do is put site : and then the domain name that you're looking at into Google, so your website domain name. And it's important that there's no spaces in between this. It needs to be site : no spaces, and then your domain name. And when you do that, so now we're looking at the live version of that. In this instance, it's saying there's about 182 results. So what you actually want to do is to click on each one of those 182 results and see what are these? What is all these listings that I'm seeing on my website? So if we click on the first one and we go there, and we'll see, oh, is this actually, a live website page that's got information? Yes, because this is, the home page of my website. Then you're going to go to the next one and the next one and the next one. And so obviously if you've got 10 results, it's a lot quicker and faster than if you have 3,000 results that come up. And if you have 3,000 results that come up and you've only got 20 pages on your website, then one of the first things you might want to do is just go to the very end and see if you can, if there's something that's coming up like multiple times of the same thing that you need to get rid of. But the idea behind it is that by clicking on these, you can actually see what is on the website pages of your site, and is it what you expect to see? So is it a proper page that has content on it? So ideally with your pages, you want them to have at least sort of 200 to 400 words on them. So here's one that, if we click on this uncategorized category, and in this case you can't actually find the page at all. So in most cases, if you can't find the page, that's all right. That's not what we're looking at in this video. That's something that you could learn about more in another video. But at the moment, what we're looking for is pages where they just don't have proper content on them. So this one looks all right. We go over to page 6 just to give you an example, because ideally what you want to do is click on every single one of these. And sometimes you can tell just by having a look to see if there's something that looks a bit strange. Sometimes you can see it in this section. So this here looks a little bit strange. Might go have a look at this person. Okay, but that's all right. It might just be that there isn't any company information there yet. So that's what you want to do, kind of go right to the end and check every single one of them and make sure that there's actually something on that page. So I'm going to now run through some examples of the kind of pages that you might find that you might want to try and remove. So if we go to this website, put in site : thinkingfinancial.com.au, And then what we're going to do is click on every one of these 133 listings. But what we find is that if we have a look at this first one, so this website is financial planners, and you can see how it's got logo type, and then it's got what we call lorem ipsum. So it's not real. And so when you click on that, it takes you to this page that has something that has absolutely nothing to do with financial planning. So this is what we call a template page. So it's something that would have existed on the website template when the web developers or when you're setting up the site, and it just means that you need to go in and find all these template pages and get rid of them. So if we start going through, all of these listings and start clicking on them all to see what they are. And there's another one that I found here that's sort of interesting, which is, umbrella design. So obviously that's got nothing to do with financial planning. And when you go to it, it's a template page. So you can see quite clearly that this is something that could be filled in with information about your site. I mean, it could be, some kind of service, some kind of financial planning service with a proper picture and proper information. But at the moment, having all these kinds of portfolio pages on the site, what it's doing is it's basically reducing the overall quality of the website, because there's a whole lot of pages on there that got nothing to do with financial planning. Then if we go to the very, very end, you'll notice that there's quite a lot of WordPress plugins that are coming up there. And so if we click on one of these links, it takes us to this. So it's just not something that you particularly want people to be going to or to be seeing or to be live in Google. And so in WordPress, it's usually as simple as clicking a box to make sure that the ticking various boxes to make sure in the SEO plugin, I use the Yoast SEO plugin, just to make sure that various sections of the site aren't being indexed. Or it might be that you need to go in and actually physically delete the pages. So what I recommend is, if you've got a whole lot of URLs, a whole lot of pages like this, to copy these URLs that are in green and send a list to your web developer. If they're not something that you know how to remove, send a list of all these URLs that need to be removed or blocked from Google being able to see them, and your web developers will be able to do that for you. If your site's in WordPress, then obviously I'm more than happy to help with that. So now we're going to have a look at another site. So this one has 30 results, so it's much easier to check through. And I actually went and had a look through all of these, and I did find a page, because this is the website. The navigation is over on the left-hand side with this website. And a couple of weeks ago, before I did the first presentation, there was actually nothing on this page. It was just a picture with nothing there. But since then, the person who owns the website has gone in and actually put a link to all the various newsletters on there, so that there is actually some content on the site. It would still be better as well if there was a bit more written information there, because ideally, like I said, if we can have 200 to 400 words on a page. But in the end, this website, out of its 30 listings, only had one with an issue. So it's not that bad, as opposed to, say, a site that might have 50 listings and 40 of them are problem listings. So then we've put in another site, realpositions.com.au, and that's come up with about 75 results. So we'll just go back to the first page there. And so again, the idea is you just need to click on all of these and find out, what they are. So one of the things I found with this particular website is that there's various pages here where there's no content written on them. So it looks like it's something that's being planned to write about. And in that case, ideally you want these pages to be in draft so that Google can't see them. So on this site, you've got about 75 listings, and I think I found about 6 or 7 that are pages with no content on them. So that ends up being, like 10% of the website. So it's just something to watch out for, something that can help to improve the overall quality of the site. The other thing that I noticed with this site, so we'll just go down here. One of the other things that can happen is that you can have the normal blog on your website. So this is Real Positions About Us, the blog. And then for your blog, it has, page 2, page 3, page 4 of the blog. Usually what I will do is just make sure that only the first page of the blog is indexed in Google. And in WordPress, you can just tick a box to say that you don't want all the secondary pages to be something that Google can find. We want people to be able to find them so that when you're on the website, it's great. You can go to page 2, 3, 4, 5 of the blog. But just so we go to page 2, so these little snippets here are actually duplicate of that blog post itself. So, Google expects that that's going to happen, but it's just a whole lot of pages that we don't really need to be showing Google, because Google is really not going to bring up this second page of a blog. If you search for something specific, you really want them to go to the blog post. You don't want them to go to the second page of your blog and then have to search for what they were looking for, if that makes sense. So we want to tell Google that if someone's searching for 3 reasons why employers hire the wrong people, we don't want them to come to this second page of our blog and have to search and try and find it. We want them to actually go to that blog post itself. So it makes it much better for people, it's better for Google. And the other thing that can also happen is you can have author archives, you can have tags, you can have categories that will also have page 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is all the blog posts that are by Paulette as the author, and so really it's just like another duplicate copy of the blog, because of the fact that if you've got one author, then every post is by you, if that makes sense. So what we really ideally want to try and do is make sure that we only have the first page of the blog. If you've only got one author, you probably don't want to have all of your author archives indexed either. You might not want to have tags and categories indexed either if you've got thousands and thousands of blog posts on your site and you've got loads of writers, then it's very different to a small business website where you have one writer, and so that therefore the blog, the author archives, the tags and the categories end up just being duplicate copy of themselves. So if that doesn't make sense, then look, feel free to ask me some more questions about it. But in the end, what we're really trying to do is, if you see anything where it's got page 3, page 2, then that would be a URL that you might want to copy and send to your web developer to ask them to not show it in Google's index. So what happens is a web developer puts a thing on that page that's called a no index tag, and that means it just doesn't come up in Google anymore. You don't have to worry about that. Just send them the URLs and say, I don't want people to be able to see all of these different pages. I just want them to see the first page of the blog, and that's it. Okay. So another example of why tags and categories in these author archives can be a problem is, so with this site, airconditionercleaningbrisbane.com.au, so it's a relatively new site, don't have very many blog posts on it, and where is it? Here. So there's this particular blog post, which is a testimonial, which is great, and for this blog post, it's in the category of aged care, and then it's got a whole lot of tags as well. Now the thing at the moment is that if we go to the aged care category, we see that it's actually the only blog post in the aged care category. So what you're creating is this page has very little content on it. And then you'll see that it's also the only like blog post in all of these tags as well. So so this is the WHS tag, this is the OHS tag, and you can see it's exactly the same as what's in the category. So in this particular instance, I've already gone and asked it to be no index, but it can take a while before it disappears from Google's index, so it doesn't happen straight away. Google can decide how long it wants, whether it wants to show it to people or not, even if you put it as no index. But it's one of those things that if you ask Google to ignore it, then there's far more chance than if you don't. If you don't, then it's just there creating multiple pages that have got the exact same thing on it, and therefore reducing the overall quality of your site. And you just really want the people to go to the very main pages on your site. So if you've only got 10 pages on your site that you really actually want people to see, then when you do this site colon thing, then you really only want 10 results coming up, if that makes sense. So one of the tools that you can also use just to check whether Google is potentially seeing it as a whole lot of duplicate content is this program called siteliner.com. So basically what you would do is take the URL for a business, put it in there, and it will run a scan of the site. And it shows that the last time I actually scanned the site was on the 19th of September, so it's showing me the results from there. And I don't actually see an updated version. I have to wait like a month before I can see an updated version of it. But you can see from here that it's indicating that the duplicate content is 15%, and ideally you want it to be less than 19%. But if we click on that duplicate content, then it will come up with all these things, and it will show us where the duplicate content is. So here we've got speakers page 2, and in this case it will show it to you even if you've asked it to not be indexed. So or if it's, yeah, so you can still see it and it might not be a problem, if that makes sense. But ultimately, if we have a look at this, we can see, okay, well, it's bringing up things that it says is duplicate, but a lot of them are things that I can't do anything about because of the fact that this information is on another page. So that's not so much of a problem. The main problem where you need to worry about duplicate content for, like, on the actual page itself, where you might need to rewrite the page, is if it's your home page that's coming up as having duplicate content to other pages. Let's just have a look and see. And in this case we can't, oh, here we go, home page. So if this website had a whole lot of colors in here to say that it was duplicate content, then it's something that we might need to rewrite as well. But this is really just an extra tip, and it's going a lot further than what I did in the presentation. The main reason that you might use this is just to see what percentage of your is duplicate content, and you may be able to pick up some of these that you haven't been able to pick up by doing site colon. But I'd really suggest that if you stick with doing site colon and clicking on each one of these, it's going to be a much better way to find these problem pages and issues. So I hope that that was useful. There's probably other examples of dodgy pages that could come up that you could find. So if you find any that you're really not sure and you want me to take a look at, then please put a message in the bottom of the video. I'm more than happy to go and do this site colon thing and see what the page is and whether it's a problem or not. And then I can always do more videos as well. So if you want more SEO training videos, then this is my website, Small Business SEO Training, that has like the full training course. So you can sign up to that, which makes it easier to access. You can also sign up to SEO Tips, and you can subscribe on YouTube as well, so that you get notified whenever there's a new training video. And then we've got the training program down here. And so this is the Small Business SEO Training YouTube channel. And I'm more than happy to do any kinds of videos to do with SEO where anyone's got a question, and put them up on the channel so that everyone can benefit from your questions. So feel free to contact me through the channel. If you find the channel is useful, then you can always donate as well. Thank you.